So Rogers and Shaw are appearing that they're going to merge. I'm not sure exactly when it's planned to happen. It's looking like there may be some government intervention on this one, but we'll see how that goes. But anyway, from the National Post saying Rogers Shaw merger will only help big telecoms profit more on the backs of Canadians, NDP says. Conservative MP Pierre Poilievre said his party will be reviewing the deal to ensure it helps create competition, affordability for Canadians, and jobs. Um, so let's see. Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't think I'm really going to get into it. I think it's pretty straightforward that every one of these political parties and politicians want to make it appear like they care about Canadians and all this stuff, but at the end of the day, they really don't, regardless of what side they're on. And the first thing I wanted to bring up, I think, is a very good point that not a lot of people talk about. I don't know why. Is that um, again, like these leftists in general, they're perfectly fine with monopolies. They don't like competition by definition. So why are they against something like this? I don't understand. Like obviously it's because they're leftists. Of course they're fine with contradictions, but again, like if competition is a good thing, then why do you want less competition in so many other areas of society? If it's not a good thing, then why are you clearly lying to you know, lying to people and pretending that you're against this stuff, right? But I mean, here's the thing too, is that what I think is the best when it comes to this stuff. I mean, there's really big problems when it comes to this kind of stuff. Is that we don't have a free market like a lot of people like to pretend we do, but really we really don't. So again, like people trying to say, "Oh, what's your solution?" Well, it's very hard because I would say let the free market figure it out, but the problem is we don't have a free market and we haven't for a long time. So if we go from having to not having a free market for a long time and allowing these big corporations to exist in a way that wouldn't have been allowed if a free market had actually been going on the whole time to, yeah, let's have a free market. I don't think that would be fair. So at the end of the day, I really don't know what the best solution is. Um, I mean, if Rogers and Shaw could demonstrate that this merger would benefit Canadians in every way, like let's say that as part of the merger, they have to agree to lower prices and they're not allowed to raise them anymore, like down the road. Maybe, yeah, I could see that if it's not going to put massive amounts of people out of work. Yeah, I could see that. But at the end of the day, I don't think a more centralized economy is better in any way, shape, or form. And again, I'm not a big fan of regulating things in the first place, but I mean, if it's gonna happen one way or the other, we might as well regulate it. And the other problem too when it comes to government regulations is that the government tends to do a horrible job of it, right? And that one of Justin Trudeau's campaign promises was he always going to lower your cell phone bill. Have they done that? Well, no, they really haven't. I mean, if you look at cable, it's insanely expensive, right? That's like in the hundreds of dollars a month if you want to have a decent plan. So, um, like I said, I don't know what the perfect solution is because you can't really say let's just don't let the free market operate when we really don't have a free market. But on the other hand, the people that are if we're going to say regulate, well, the problem is that the people that are going to be in power of regulating them are probably going to do a terrible job of doing it. So in my mind, either way, we end up when it comes to these situations, we end up in a worse situation. But again, like I said, it really just boggles my mind how, again, these leftists they want a monopoly on schooling. They want a monopoly on, well, post-secondary schooling if it was up to them. They want a monopoly on healthcare. I mean, the list goes on, right? The things that they're perfectly fine with monopolies on. But when it comes to this stuff, it's, oh, we need competition, guys. Why would we allow monopolies? We want competition. So again, like, do these people really think their viewers or their supporters are that stupid? Like, to be quite honest, I think they do, because most people are that stupid, at least of their supporters. Now, as far as the right wingers go, I mean, I don't know. I think it would kind of depend, but I think at the end of the day, like, if we can get more affordability when it comes to this stuff, if we can get more jobs created, it's better than where we're at right now. So I mean, you'd probably want to do it, but that's very tough. That's very tough. And um, at the end of the day, I don't think there should be monopolies. Now, does that mean that the government should regulate them out of business? Not necessarily. The problem, I think, is that more often, again, people say, oh, we can't have a free market because there'll be monopolies. Well, again, there's two massive problems with that. Number one, um, monopolies exist more often in a heavily centralized system. So if you look at places where the government is more and more powerful, there's usually more monopolies in those systems than there is in free market systems. And the other big problem with that, like I said, is that um, in a free market, it would be a lot less likely for monopolies to form in the first place, because if you're a monopoly or a potential monopoly, the goal would be to run to the government to try and regulate competition out of existence, or even impose rules and restrictions that deter competition, right? The lockdowns are a prime example of that, right? Walmart gets to stay open, Superstore gets to stay open, but do small mom and pop stores get to stay open? Well, usually not. And even if they do, the restrictions that are in place are already going to hurt them more than Walmart and Superstore, et cetera, et cetera. Right? So that's the thing when it comes to people, oh no, we can't have a free market because of monopolies. Well, they really don't understand what they're talking about. Number one, because they're not actually all that concerned about monopolies, because if they were, number one, the government is a monopoly, right? The government is a monopoly, and they're perfectly fine with that. And in Canada, I mean, like I said, there's a monopoly on healthcare. Not to mention, too, if it was up to these people, there would be a monopoly on schooling, right? Only public schools. I mean, if it was up to them, only government dentists, basically. And again, that could go on and on and on, right? So at the end of the day, these people don't care about monopolies, they care about power. And that's the big problem we have in society, is that um, there is some greedy capitalist, not capitalist, but greedy people out there that are in business. The problem is that it is a lot easier for them to rip people off, to do unjust things, if they can get the approval of government in the first place. Right? So there's two problems. The first one is the government. The government wants power, and these big corporations want power as well. Right? And if they band together, well, that just makes them both that much more likely to succeed. So that's the big problem. Like at the end of the day, like, again, and Jagmeet Singh, Rogers Shaw merger will only help big telecoms profit more on the backs of Canadians, NDP says. So they're basically saying that taking excess money from people is a bad thing. Okay, well, why do you not want competition when it comes to healthcare? If people can save money by having private healthcare, why would you not want that? Why do you want only public schools? If people could save money, or maybe they pay the same, but they could send their kids to a private school and they do a better job of education, why would you not want that? And they don't want that because it goes against the political narrative, right? So it's very simple. Like, I think at the end of the day, it's all about power. Like, it's all about power. The big corporations want power. The government definitely wants power, and if they band together, there's pretty much no way of stopping them. So that's basically what I wanted to bring up today. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Make sure you check out those links below. Follow me on those other platforms if you haven't already. If you want to donate, you can do that as well. Again, I would very much appreciate whatever support I can get, but at the very least, just hit that like and subscribe and stay tuned for more.